Hello and welcome back to Scout Report, and today we're investigating how Jose Mourinho could fix the problems at Man United. Yes, we think it could be possible, maybe. 5. Solve the centre-back conundrum. Only noisy neighbours Manchester City conceded fewer goals than Man United's 28 last season, yet their leaky backline remains Mourinho's biggest problem, as he spent the majority of the summer attempting to add a world-class defender to United's ranks. And that's because last term's defensive display was solely thanks to David De Gea, who had the campaign of his life. The Spaniard averaged a freakish 3.6 saves per goal, treble that managed by an experienced Petr Cech, and higher than league winner Ederson's 2.2 saves per goal. Mourinho simply cannot expect the same output from the 27-year-old this season. It's not all bad though. So far, De Gea has actually faced 2.4 fewer shots per 90 this term. But from those, a third more are expected to hit the net, and in 4 games they've conceded 7 times, and De Gea has made the same number of saves, proving he is a long way off his 2017-18 form. While Mourinho's public pursuit of fresh meat won't have filled the United defenders with confidence, neither will his inconsistency. So he has 2 options. Either he convinces Ed Woodward to splash the cash in January, or more likely, he needs to settle on a defensive pairing. The most regular centre-back pairing under Mourinho has actually been Phil Jones and Chris Smalling. Unfortunately for the Englishmen, they have the lowest win percentage, gaining 3 points from just 46% of the 13 games they played together. And it isn't looking rosy for the centre-backs, who are both losing more tackles per 90 than they are winning. Lindelof has started 4 of the 5 games so far this campaign, with Smalling his most regular partner, but they have conceded 8 goals already this season, or 1.6 a game. Having played only 1 top 6 opponent, Mourinho needs to quickly fix it before the more difficult fixtures come his way. Having already bought Lindelof and Bailly, it doesn't seem that the ex-Chelsea boss will be gifted with another pot of money to bandage his porous defence. But seeing as he has even got Lukaku tracking back, and looking at the evidence of the last 2 seasons, he has no problems with parking the bus against the likes of City and Chelsea. 4. Get the most out of Sanchez. In 122 appearances for Arsenal, Alexis Sanchez scored an impressive 80 goals in all competitions. But he pretty much confirmed a move to Manchester United in January after he made it clear he was unhappy in North London. However, all of us, including Alexis, thought that he would be playing in sky blue rather than red. The forward has cost United record-breaking wages of £350,000 a week to make the Chilean the highest paid player in the Premier League. Not only has this put the backs up of the other playing staff, now wildly underpaid in their economy of scale, but it has also ramped up the pressure on the player himself to perform and the manager to get the most out of him. Under Mourinho, Alexis has scored every 525 minutes in the Premier League, shocking compared to his goal every 134 minutes in 16-17 for the Gunners. So, while Arsene Wenger definitely received more criticism, he was certainly getting a lot more from the 29-year-old than the special one is managing. Heat maps from last season prove that Sanchez and Pogba were trying to play in the same areas, to the detriment of them both. Putting Alexis on the right could free up space for the pair and even allow Martial to get a look in on the left. So while Sanchez has managed to contribute an average of 2.3 key passes per 90, we could see his productivity soar if he switches the wings. Despite his poor output, Alexis hasn't been handled the same way as his teammates. We've seen Pogba and Martial restricted to the sidelines, but it seems the Chile international is pretty much undroppable when fully fit, having started 22 games since he joined and played 4 this term. With just 3 goals in all competitions in 9 months, Alexis has been underwhelming to say the least. But like the majority of the United squad, we think it's largely down to Mourinho, and shifting him out to the right wing would solve a lot of their problems. 3. Start man managing. As Mourinho entered his doomed 3rd season, his sassy presence in the British media hasn't quite encouraged Man United fans, who have gone into the new campaign with new levels of disillusionment. But we reckon that if he did start properly man-managing his team to help get the best out of the likes of Pogba and Martial, it would be the quickest way to turn around the terraces and help Old Trafford become a fortress once again. Right now, it seems like Mourinho is refusing to man-manage his squad, and as a result, they don't seem to have the desire to win. A far cry from the win-at-all-cost mentality the 55-year-old is renowned for. If we take their defeat to Brighton as a case study, we can highlight how bad this has become. During the match away at the Seagulls, United players simply couldn't be bothered. In 90 minutes, the Red Devils ran 99.5 kilometres compared to Brighton's 108.5, becoming the only team in the Prem this season to run under 100k. Considering they spent the majority of the game behind a team who are in just their second consecutive season in the top tier, you'd expect a United side to try a little bit harder than notching up only 74 sprints, the fewest any team has managed in a league game this season. Obviously, the players aren't all responding well to Mourinho's tough love approach. Off the top of our heads, we can name 5 players in the current squad who have been publicly slated by the manager, with Pogba, Shaw, Martial, Rashford and Bailly all receiving criticism in the public eye. And it clearly hasn't helped their form. Martial made 18 starts last campaign and contributed 9 goals and 5 assists. Conversely, in the 5 games so far this season, he has been limited to just 79 minutes as spats off the field have prevented his development on it and made one of the brightest young talents in world football express his desire to leave Man United. 2. Change the playing style. From Mourinho's arrival at Old Trafford in 2016, his defensive style of play, which is synonymous with the Portuguese coach, has been a sticking point in Manchester and the club's historic philosophy. And while over the last few games we have seen slight lift-off at Old Trafford, any Man United team that settles with Fellaini pulling strings in midfield isn't totally fitting United's traditional attractive play. In the first 5 games of the 2018-19 season, United have netted 8 times, while Liverpool have scored 11 and Man City hitting 14. Now you might think that 1.6 goals per game is an okay output, but looking at their shots per match stats, there is much more cause for concern. Per 90, Man United are averaging 14 shots on goal, with Liverpool, Chelsea and Man City thumping that by a lot. On average, Man City are attempting a shot 24 times a game, with 14.2 of those being quality chances. So that means City are shooting more from inside the penalty area in every game than United are attempting in total. In contrast to the Sky Blues' intricate attacking play, 9.2 of the 14 shots Man United are making come from outside the area. So the 8 goals they have scored means they're actually overperforming. How is that possible? While you would think that a team consisting of attacking talent like Lukaku, Alexis Sanchez, Martial, Rashford, Lingard and Pogba would be dominating on the attacking front, they aren't even seeing a huge majority of the ball, with an average possession of just 55% in the opening games. Rewind just 5 years and Ferguson's United won his final title with 11 more goals than any competitor in the Prem, as only 3 teams managed to stop the Red Devils from finding the net. Last season, Man United scored 65 goals, 39 fewer than their biggest rivals and Premier League title winners Man City, as we've seen a total power shift in Manchester. In fact, it's almost unfair to compare them to City these days. And it's easy to argue that the current squad would be much better suited to swapping to an attractive style rather than Mourinho's typical negative play. And it would go a long way in pleasing the fans, obviously, the board and the players. But as we all know, suggesting Jose to change a habit of a lifetime is a big ask. 1. Improve relations with Ed Woodward. When Bobby Charlton said that Mourinho was not the type of manager appropriate for United, he instilled a tension between the club's philosophy and the incoming coach. And while the announcement of an undisputed winner relieved the Old Trafford faithful following spells under Moyes and Van Gaal, it seems the tension still runs deep. In fact, when our very own Joe Tomlinson asked you lot whether Mourinho was right for United, 82% of FD fans said he wasn't, leaving us to question whether he has ever truly embedded himself with the fans or the board. It might seem on the outside that Jose Mourinho and Ed Woodward are both playing for the Red Devils, but look closer and it's clear the tension runs deep between the top dogs at United. Considering that Woodward has the purse strings and Jose's fate in his hands, it seems that one way to progress would be for the Portuguese manager to cosy up to the Englishman. From Ed Woodward's point of view, Mourinho has wasted £65.7 million on 2 underperforming centre-backs in Bailly and Lindelof, brought back a star player for £90 million who now wants to leave for Barca, and United's 2 biggest rivals in Liverpool and City are soaring. In Mourinho's eyes, he provided the board a list of 9 suitable centre-back additions in the summer, only to have every one of them vetoed, while Guardiola has been given £1 billion to spend across the board on any player that he fancies a punt on. Failure to land the likes of Toby Alderweireld, Harry Maguire or Jerome Boateng seemed due to the business acumen of Woodward, But having spent a huge £364.3 million on 8 players since Louis van Gaal's departure in 2016, you can't argue that funds haven't been forthcoming. While Mourinho has been mouthing off in the press unhappy with transfers, having added 10 outfield players to the 20 inherited, the squad is undoubtedly his own. So to keep the peace between himself, Woodward and the Glazers, it's time he focused on the players he does have rather than those he doesn't. As frustrated as Jose may be, at the end of the day, the chief exec's position as the Glazers' main man across the pond gives the ex-banker a whole lot of power at United. And for Mourinho to get what he wants in the transfer window, he needs to have a better relationship with the board. So those are 5 ways in which Jose Mourinho could fix Man United. But what do you reckon? Any suggestions of your own? And do you think he could actually do it? Let us know in the comments below. Now, if you enjoyed this, why not go and check out last weekend's Stat Wars? And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.